Hi all, Weathers91 here. Following a request from some of my lazier friends, you're going to get a new series of videos called TLDR TWAB. Put simply, they don't like reading the TWAB for themselves, so they've asked if I'll do it for them. I've said yes, and I'm going to share that with you. I'll summarise the TWAB and go through any key talking points. Basically, I'll perform the lawyer's role of reading the paperwork so you don't have to bother. It is the 3rd of March 2022. Let's get stuck into the TWAB. The first thing we need to take a look at is the header image. This came out before the TWAB as a result of a game to give reward. It appears to show the fire team of 6 staring down at the Scorn Temple up in the Miasma area, which we assume will be the start of the raid. In the background we can see the pyramid ship down in the bog, which we knew would be the main venue for the raid. What we can take away from the header image, I think, is we potentially have a longer run down to the entrance to the pyramid than was initially thought. It also suggests, in my view, that we're going to either have a Scorn or Scorn with some Hive type raid. This matches the enemy types that we've seen in pyramid type content since Season of the Arrivals. Getting into the meat of the raid race itself, first and foremost, perhaps most importantly for many, the start time. It's stated to be 10 AM Pacific. For most of us that doesn't mean very much. For me specifically, that's 6 PM UK time. For the rest of you, that's 6 PM at GMT +0, so you can calculate your own time from there and be sure not to miss out. Next is a word on contest mode. It's time to put to bed all the discussion that I've seen over the past few days of the advantages of being above 1530 and the role of the artifact. To put this simply, if your power level, including artifact, is 1530 or above, you will gain no advantage from progressing any higher at any point in the raid. If you're below 1530, you risk being disadvantaged, particularly in the later stages. The way that contest will work is it will look at the base recommended power of the encounter and cap the power of Guardians at 20 below that level. Next thing to look at, what is out? We've seen a few very broken build videos coming out over the last couple of days, and we've equally seen Bungie react very quickly. The net effect is that, as at the time of recording, there are 4 weapons, 2 armor pieces, 2 weapon perks, and 1 mod that will be disabled for the Witch Queen raid. Weapons: Aikilos SMG, the Imperial Needle Bow, the Grand Overture Exotic Machine Gun, and everyone's favourite, the Wardcliffe Coil. For armour pieces, it's a pretty sad story for Titans. Both the Wormgod Caress and the Peregrine Greaves used to make the broken 1-2 punch builds have both been disabled. Fingers crossed Synthoceps will still survive, but who knows, we've still got 24 hours or so to go. Perks: Enhanced 1-2 punch and Pulse Monitor are both gone. And lastly, mods: the Suppressing Glaive mod from the artifact is also disabled. Given post-completion debate following previous raids, Bungie's tried to give some clarity on completion. They've said the first team to complete all encounters and loot the final chest will be the winner. Asterisk: it comes with the usual health warnings. Only the 6 players who are present when the final chest opens will be declared the winners. I'm not sure what happens if someone gets disconnected, for example, between the boss and the final chest, so that there's only 5. But any 7th or 8th supporting players will certainly play no part and receive no belt. There will also be a validation process prior to confirming the winner, so that any team with a term of service breach in their run can be suspended, and I note they've left it quite vague. It says that the full rules and legal terms are here, but there's no link at the moment. But if I find anything in those, I'll let you all know, perhaps on Twitter. Link to that in the description below. So far as rewards are concerned, no surprises here. The winners will receive a world's first belt, albeit the final design isn't fixed yet. There's a day 1 emblem called the Cleaver, which it looks relatively clean. It certainly won't hide any of the player name or clan name text, which has been a problem with some emblems, but isn't one that I'm blown away by. Similarly, there'll be a raid jacket for the collection completionists amongst you. Looking beyond day 1, there's the usual selection of emblems, seals and pins. The completion emblem for the raid is Light of the Dark Sun. If we can regard the day 1 emblem as dark mode, then this is the light mode equivalent and has a bit more colour about it, but again, I'm not blown away. Leaving all things Vow the Disciple there for the time being and looking away from the raid, there are some fixes to look forward to. The first of these, in a patch on the 10th of March, should increase the drop rate of deep sight resonance weapons from the Wellspring. This ought to speed up acquiring the necessary materials and patterns to complete the crafting quests on the evidence board. At the same time, there should be an increase to the drop rate of Ascendant alloys from the Wellspring activity. If you want to increase your chances, you need to be looking at fast clears, platinum clears, and higher difficulty levels to get that optimal drop rate. Aside from a quick note on Gambit, which to be honest doesn't say very much, the TWAB also confirms, sadly, that Destiny 2 will not be supported on the Steam Deck, the new handheld from Steam. We're also reminded that there's now a new Prime Gaming Loot Bundle out, which Twitch Prime users can claim on the Twitch website for in-game cosmetic rewards. The TWAB also contains the Hotfix 4.0.0.2 patch notes. There's certainly a lot in the patch notes, but much of it's cosmetic and won't affect the average everyday player. We've already touched on Enhanced 1-2 Punch and Enhanced Pulse Monitor being disabled for the time being. Players not getting their drops from the Wellspring activity are told that they should first claim all of their rewards from the Finch vendor screen. Perhaps this is something to do with adding those rewards to the loot pool, but that apparently may fix it. Other fixes include the inability to complete Dares of Eternity when you have a lightning round activated. The Grave Robber perk is now active on the Enigma Glaive. Hunters can cancel out of glaive melee combos by using their dodge, and most importantly, certainly when I read over it, Overload auto rifles and SMGs will now stop the health regeneration of Overload champions. Thank God for that. There's also a long list of known issues, again mostly cosmetic, but the substantive ones are these. Glaive mods are not presently dropping from legendary engrams. The time portal on the No Time to Explain exotic pulse rifle will continue to shoot at dead enemies. Anyone reshaping the Osteostriga exotic SMG with the catalyst equipped will be double charged the catalyst shape cost every time they reshape the weapon, though apparently this can be bypassed by simply reapplying the catalyst during the reshape process. So before you finalize your reshaping, check the cost and consider reapplying the catalyst to see if it reduces it. Gambit engram focusing is currently a higher cost than intended, so maybe hold off any Gambit focusing you intended to do until the price comes down. And lastly, to the annoyance of many, the Ascendant alloy purchase limit on Master Rahul did not refresh at weekly resets, so perhaps we have to wait until next week to pick one of those up. And there you have it, my take on the 3rd of March 2022 TWAB. If you've got your own take, feel free to leave it for me to read in the comments below, or head over to my Twitch stream. I'll be live later tonight, and there's a link to that in the description below. If you found the video useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can make sure you get the next installment, same time next week. In the meantime, you might want to check out one of my other tutorial videos, for example, how to close all of the darkness rifts in Savathun's Throne World and get the no peeking triumph. Link to that on the right hand side of the screen. But that's it from me, thank you very much for watching.